There's a moment, long before burnout, long before shutdown, where your system quietly tells you this is too much. Most people miss it because the first sign of mental overload doesn't look like exhaustion. It looks like subtle resistance, hesitation, irritation, avoidance. In this video, I'll show you the earliest sign you're mentally overloaded, why it's so easy to ignore, and what to do before overwhelm takes over. This isn't about pushing through, it's about catching overload early when it's easiest to fix. Most people think they'll notice overload when they feel tired, but by the time exhaustion shows up, your system has already been compensating for a long time. Mental overload starts quietly, and because you're still functioning, you assume everything is fine. Here's the first sign most people miss. Thinking starts to feel uncomfortable. Not hard, not impossible, just unpleasant. You avoid planning, you avoid deciding, you avoid reviewing, even opening certain tabs. This isn't procrastination yet, it's early overload. Under rising cognitive load, your brain starts protecting itself. Thinking requires working memory, it requires comparison, it requires holding multiple ideas at once. When capacity is strained, your system quietly says, let's not do that right now. So you default to scrolling, to busy work, to reactive tasks, to anything that avoids deeper thought. This is why people miss it. You're still doing things, you're still replying, you're still showing up, but you're avoiding depth. You stop engaging with work that requires clarity and start gravitating towards work that feels easy to respond to. Overload hasn't stopped you, it's redirected you. If this signal is ignored, something rather predictable happens. The thinking you avoid doesn't disappear. It starts to stack. Open loops multiply. Decisions pile up. Mental tabs stay open. Eventually the system crosses a threshold and now even small tasks feel difficult. That's when people say, I'm overwhelmed. But the overload started much earlier. This is especially common for capable people. People who can push through, who can compensate, who can stay productive under pressure. They mistake compensation for capacity. Just because you can keep going doesn't mean your system is okay. Here's the reframe from the momentum reset method. Mental overload doesn't start with exhaustion. It starts with avoidance of thinking. That's the early signal. And it's not a failure, it's information. Ask yourself this question regularly. What am I subtly avoiding thinking about? Not what you're avoiding doing, what you're avoiding thinking about. That's where load is accumulating. Because your brain avoids what feels costly. If thinking about something feels heavy, it's because your system doesn't have the capacity to hold it right now. This isn't fear, and it's not laziness, it's a capacity signal. When you notice this signal, the instinct is to push, to force clarity, to sit down and just deal with it. That often backfires because forcing thinking under overload increases pressure, which increases avoidance. Instead of pushing, you reduce, you shrink the scope, you externalize what's being held, you clarify the next smallest step. You're not trying to solve the whole thing, you're reducing the thinking cost. As pressure drops, something interesting happens. Thinking stops feeling aversive. You don't suddenly feel motivated, you feel available. That's your signal that capacity is returning. If this early signal is ignored, the system escalates. Avoidance becomes procrastination. Hesitation becomes freeze. Mental load becomes overwhelm. Catching it early prevents all of that. Here's a gentle daily check-in. What's one thing I've been avoiding thinking about today? You don't have to act on it, just name it. Naming reduces load. If thinking has started to feel uncomfortable, that's not a character flaw. It's not resistance. It's your system asking for less load. Listening early is how momentum stays sustainable. If this video helped you recognize an early sign of overload, pause. That awareness alone reduces pressure. In the next videos, we'll explore how cognitive load builds invisibly, why urgency takes over, and how to restore clarity before burnout appears. Those videos, as is this one, will be part of my Overwhelm playlist. I'll put a link up here and also in the description. And if you want a structured way to work with this, the momentum reset method walks you through it step by step. I would encourage you to check that out. Overload doesn't arrive suddenly, it whispers first. Learning to hear that whisper changes everything.